Yeah, hi everyone. So today we are going to today this session completely we are going to discuss about the programming. Okay, because Python. Uh, so we are learning about all the concepts of Python, but we have to practice the lab also. Okay, so we have a detailed syllabus of laboratory. Okay, which has been given by JNTU Kakinada. So with nearly 32 exercises. Okay, so nearly 32 programs are there. So you need to learn all these programs and have to practice all these programs. Okay, so until and unless we didn't practice the programs, so we'll not able to get the concept. Okay, because laboratory is as much as important like your theory concepts. Okay, in fact it is more important than theory concepts. Why? Because once you try to uh, use all these concepts which you have learned in theory part, so once you start writing your programs and start analyzing the programs, then you can able to understand, okay, so how these concepts are going to work, and what are the different errors you are getting while executing these programs, okay, and how to analyze the question has been given by the program. Okay, so then concerned according to that we need to write some concept. Okay, analyzing the question and trying to write the concept. So all these things will be there. So here is the Python programming lab, uh, like questions, that means lab that has been given by JN2K. Okay, so there are some set of programs are there. So totally we have nearly 32, 34 programs are there. Okay, which covers wide variety of concepts, right? So in this particular video we are trying to learn the basic programs and trying to understand the concepts which are there in that program. Okay, so I hope you understood all the previous concepts. So we'll try to learn some programs, nearly the first 5 programs or first 6 programs we're trying to I am trying to explain in this video, so that these concepts, all these concepts are already we have learned in the first 2 chapters. Okay, and one more thing I want to tell you, that is we already completed the second chapter also. Okay, because second chapter is very less concepts we have. So we have only the control structures again, and then we have some other concepts like text files. Okay, so working on text files, all these. So we almost cover these concepts also. So till now we have completed 2 complete units. So that's why I'm focusing on lab now. Okay, because lab is very much important. So once you're able to understand and write these programs, then only you can able to uh, visualize or conceptualize those concepts you have learned in the previous chapters. Okay, so we successfully completed 2 chapters. So we'll try to cover the first 5 programs, which almost covers these 2 chapters concepts. Okay, so that is how the lab is very important for Python. So without wasting time, I'll start with the program. So the first program in lab we have it has been given according to the JNTK syllabus. It is write a program that asks the user for a weight in kilograms and convert it into pounds. There are 2.2 pounds in a kilogram. So what is the program is? The program has to ask the user to enter a weight in kilogram. Okay, so he will a number which is in weight. Suppose 10 is the number he has entered, so we should assume that 10 is in kilograms. Now what should we do is we need to convert that 10 into pounds. Okay, so here the small hint is for every kilogram there are 2.2 pounds. So obviously for 10 grams what should be the pounds? 10 into 2.2. Okay, because 1 pound is equal to 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. So 10 into 2.2 pounds will give automatically the figure which is in pounds. Okay, so that is what the program we need to write. So see, Python generally the best that means the beauty of Python is there are no number of lines of code will be very less in Python. Okay, so whatever the concept or whatever the big thing you need to analyze or understand, okay, for all that concept you have only a small lines of code. That's why people prefer writing programs in Python rather than C. Is a very beautiful language, but still the lines of code that we need to write for very big problems is very high in C programming. Okay, similarly in C and Java, all these things, the lines of code will be very huge. Okay, for writing a small concept or for writing a small problem. So here the Python uses very less lines of code to represent the problem statement. Okay, so that's why we mostly nowadays we are using Python for writing problems. Okay, for writing programs. So let's see the program here. So the first program is that is a program objective I have explained you now. So what the objective is, the user has to enter a number which is in kilograms, then we need to convert that into pounds. Okay, so for every 1 kilogram the pounds is 2.2 pounds. Okay, so that is what the basic thing is. So actually it is 2.2046 pounds. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2046 pounds. So first of all I am taking a variable called kilo underscore grams. Okay, so this is the variable I have taken. So kilo underscore grams is equal to, now we need to use a function called input. Okay, and input, in that bracket we need to write what is the text that is going to be printed on the screen. So here what is the text I need to print is enter weight in kilograms to convert into pounds. That is the text I need to print on the screen. Okay, so the user will try to enter some number. Obviously by using an input function, when you take an input value from the keyboard, it will be in a string value. Okay, I told you so many times in the previous classes that everything which is stored in the file or anything taken from the input as a input from the keyboard, all these things in string values. So we need to convert that string values into concerned particular integer or float. Okay, or like whatever the value we require, so we need to convert that into that particular value. Here the weight is entered from the keyboard, so 10 is entered. Suppose 10 is entered, 10 is in basically actually it's a number, but Python it treated as it is a string. Okay, so to convert that string value into a float number, I am writing a float function, sorry, float keyword in front of this total value. Okay, so I'll enter some value that will be converted into a float. Okay, suppose I have entered 10, the 10 will be converted into 10.0 and it will be stored in kilo underscore grams. This is the variable we are using. Okay, now I am using another variable called pounds. Pounds is equal to kilo underscore gram into 2.2046, because this is the number we need to multiply with, because for every 1 kilogram what is a pound is 2.2046. So obviously if we are taken 10.0 as in kilograms, so 10.0 into 2.2046. Okay, so that will be the result which is stored in pounds variable. Okay, now what I am doing is I am simply printing this kilograms. Okay, first of all I am printing the value, comma, kilograms, that is a word. Okay, and is equal to, I am printing some is equal to, comma, pounds. Pounds in the sense this variable. Okay, so the value will be printed first and then the word pounds. Okay, so when you try to execute this program, so already I have executed all these programs in a file. So see, basically this is the Spider IDE which I am using right now. So I told you so many times that this is the IDE through which we can execute the programs. Okay, it is a very useful IDE where we can edit our programs, and we can see the output on this particular white screen. Okay, so on the left hand side we can write the programs here, on the right hand side we can see the program output. Okay, so this area is called as a Python console, and this area is called as an editor. So this editor where we can type the programs and everything. If you type something wrong here, it will automatically shows a red symbol here. Okay, and if you place your cursor point on that particular red symbol, it will show you what is the error that can be corrected. Okay, suppose here I forgot to write this equal to. Okay, so simply I have written like this. So when you written like this, you will get a symbol here, cross symbol, okay, which is in red color. So when you place your mouse cursor on this particular red symbol, it will show you what is the error, invalid syntax. Okay, that means I am not following the proper syntax for writing this program. So I can simply modify that by simply correcting that program. Okay, so this is the usage of Spider IDE, okay, which is very useful. See, the only thing is I'll already sent some link to you. Okay, so there you can download the Python IDE. Then this will be open like this, and then if you want to create a new program, go to file and click on new file. Okay, so it will be like this. Okay, it will appear like this. So remove all the contents that we have, the default contents will be there, so remove all the contents, and then if you want to write a program here, you start typing and writing the program here. Okay, otherwise if you have written somewhere else, you can simply copy these program and place it in that place it in that editor. Okay, I'll do you. So I'll show one a program so that you can able to follow clearly. So this is the program, right? So this program, if you want to save this program, you can click on this, or otherwise go to file menu, then there is an option called save. Okay, click on save. Then if you click on save, it will ask you to enter some name for the file. Okay, so we can use some demo7 or something, and save as type, that should be Python files. Okay, click on Python files, then save. Okay, so obviously you can see here demo7.py. okay, .py is nothing but it means that it is a Python file. Okay, ma? So demo7.py. So this is the program we have written. Okay, now how to run this program? Okay, so this option is there, the green color icon which is there in the taskbar, the first green color icon, like it's a play button. So when you place your mouse pointer on this, it shows as a run file. Okay, so when you click on this file will be executed. Okay, on the right hand side you can able to observe that enter weight in kilograms to convert into pounds. Now you place your cursor here and try to enter the value 10. Okay, 10. If you want to enter some other number, you can. Okay, I'll just use 15. Okay, so 15. So what is the output I am getting? 15.0 kilograms is equal to 33.069 pounds. That is what the output I have got. So that is what the program we have written, right? So according to the program, the output has been appeared for us, right? So this is one of the option. Okay. Suppose you can use the same file for writing multiple programs also. Okay, so you can leave some spaces here and then start writing some other program here. Okay, and there are two programs in this particular editor. If you want to execute only one thing, then you can select the number of lines which you want to execute, then click on this black icon, okay, which is there in the taskbar, which is called as a run selection. That means what? It will select only those particular lines which you have selected. Okay, so that is how we need to execute this particular Python IDE. Okay, so when you click on this black icon, again it will ask you to enter the same, because I have copied the same program 2 times here. Okay, so that's why it is again asking the same thing. So this time I'll give 23. Now it will again convert the value and give the result as 50.7058 pounds, right? So these are the only two options that we frequently use in Spider IDE. Okay, so here is the editor. Okay, so I have shown you how to create a file and how to save a file. Then on the right hand side there is a console where your programs will be executed and output will be appeared on this particular console, right? So you follow these steps while you install your Spider IDE and try to execute this program in this particular IDE. Okay, it is an open source program. Already I have sent a link to you, so download the particular file, okay, which is called as an Anaconda distribution. So that particular IDE, when you install it, it will give you like this particular screen. Okay, so if you're facing any difficulty while installing the program, while installing that particular Anaconda software or Anaconda distribution, you just go through the YouTube videos. There are so many videos on this particular Spider IDE. Okay, so you can simply follow the steps which has been given in the video, right? Okay, now so this is the first program we have successfully completed, right? So now, okay, so second program. So try to understand the program. Write a program that asks the user to enter three numbers. Okay, so user has to the program has to ask the user to enter three numbers. Use three separate input statements. That means what the requirement is, three separate input statements should be there. That means first of all we need to write this input function, enter the first number. Second time also we have to say use the same thing. Third time also we have to use the same thing. Okay, so the requirement of the program is the user has to enter three numbers but use three separate input statements. Okay, next after that create variables called total and average. Okay, total will hold sum of the numbers and average will hold average of these three particular numbers. Okay, and print the values of total and average. So which is a simple program, so nothing new here. Already we have done so many programs of this kind in C program also. So we need to take the numbers first. N1, okay, N1 is a variable which contains the first number. What I am writing is input function. Input function, enter the first number. What is an input function? Like printf function in C programming. Okay, so printf function, enter the value of a something we have we write in C program. Similarly, here input function should be used. So input in brackets, enter the first number. So this is the string which is displayed on the output console. Okay, and like I told you, whenever you enter some number, it is in the string format. So that string format number should be converted into an integer. So that's why I have placed integer in front of this. Okay, so if you enter some 25 here, that 25 will be a string number. So the 25 string will be converted into an integer. So that's why I have written this integer in front of this. So n1 is equal to the first number, second number and third number. Like all the three numbers will be entered. Okay, so three numbers are stored in three separate variables. N1 the first number, N2 second number, N3 third number. So what is the next requirement is you need to sum up all these three numbers and store that to some variable called total. Okay, because he clearly mentioned that total is the variable which should contains the sum of all three numbers, and average is the another variable which holds the average of the three numbers. So that's why we have used only those particular variables. So total is equal to n1 plus n2 plus n3. Average is equal to total by 3. Okay, so what is the next statement is you simply print the sum and average. So the sum of three numbers is comma total. Like in C program we'll try to use the same statement, right? But there we use printf statement. Here we are using print statement. Okay, so print the sum of the three numbers is comma total. the average of three numbers is comma average. Okay ma. So you can observe the output also here, or otherwise I'll try to execute the same thing here. Already I have executed these programs, so anyhow I'll execute again for you. So this is the second program. So this is the first program. I clearly written here the first program, program 1. Similarly second program, program 2. Okay, so I'll select this because I want to execute only these statements. So when I want to execute only these statements, I need to click on this black icon. Okay, when you click on black icon, the program will be executed here and it will ask you to enter the first number. So let us suppose I'll enter the 25, number 25. Second time it will ask you enter the second number, 36. Okay, third number, any random number, that 45. So now if you enter all the three numbers, it will sum up all the three numbers and it will give the total and the average of the three numbers. So which is a small program. Next program, program 3. Write a program that uses a for loop to print a numbers 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, like until 89. Okay, so there is a sequence of numbers. The sequence starts from 11, 8. Okay, after that you should get 11, after that you should get 14, after that you should get 17, 20, next, like that it has to continue until 89. So all the values in between 8 to 89 has to be printed. Okay, so what is the logic is, you try to observe this. After 8 you will get 11. Okay, so when we add 3 to 11, 8, obviously you will get the 11. When you add 3 to 11, you will get 14. When you add 3 to 14, you will get 17. Okay, so there is some logic here. What is the logic is, we are adding 3 for every number, right? So and we are getting the next number. Suppose 17, for 17 if we add 3 you will get 20. The next number after 20 is 20 plus 3, 23. Again 26, 29, like that the numbers has to be continued. Okay, so what is the we understood the logic. Okay, what is the logic is, we need to add 3 for the previous number, then we will get the next number, right? But particularly he told us that we need to use the for loop. Okay, so see here, within 2 lines we have completed this total program. So that is the beauty of a Python. Okay, so where the number of lines of code will be very less, because Python has a very rich set of operators, functions, okay, and libraries. So by using all these things we can simply write our programs and limit our programs. The number of lines of code will be very less. Okay, so see here, so I'm using a for loop here. So and with the for loop I am using a function called range. Okay, so range function, uh, basically range function will accepts 0 arguments or 3 arguments. Okay, so the first argument is called starting point. That means from which number you need to print the sequence, and the second argument is called the ending number. That means to which number you need to print. Okay, so until which number you need to print the sequence, comma, this is called increment. So for every number, what is the increment? 3. So you need to add 3 for the every number. Okay, so you may get a small doubt that why we have written 89 plus 3. Okay, so for your basic understanding of your knowledge, I am simply deleting that particular 3. Okay, so you try to observe here, there are 3 arguments. The first argument is 8, which is called the starting number. The second argument is 89, which is the ending number. And what is 3? 3 is the increment. That means for every number we need to add 3. Okay, next, print. for I value in range, right? So for I starts with the 8. Okay, so print I means it will print the value, and after every value I should get a comma. That's why in print function I am using a special uh, attribute called as an end is equal to comma. Okay, suppose if you want to uh, give a dot or hyphen or underscore after every number, we can specify here. Okay, with the help of this attribute, end attribute. Okay, now I'll execute the program now. Okay, so you can see here, so I'll simply remove this 3 here. I'll tell you why I'm removing this particular 3 here. Okay, so when I execute these two particular statements, okay, now you will get all the numbers in between 8 to 89 is missing. Why 89 is missing, right? Because the range function will print this particular 8 to 89, but 89 will not be printed. Okay, the number which is previous to that, until those numbers will be printed. Okay, so range function, because the range function is designed in such a way that, okay, if at all, if you are writing range function as 0 to 5, okay, so it will print only 0 to 4, 5 will not be printed. So that's why I am adding plus 3 to this particular 89, because I want 89 also to be printed on the screen, right? So that's why I'm simply writing 89 plus 3. So now if you try to execute these two statements, save this program, and try to execute this particular selection of programs. Now you can see, observe the output, 8 to 89. Okay, 8 to 89, all the numbers are printed, right now. So this is how we can execute. Okay, so within 2 lines we have finished the program. But when you use C or C or C++ or Java, for this little program, at least you need to write 5 to 6 lines of code. But in Python, we are using only 2 lines. Okay, only thing is you need to understand how to use that range function and for loop with this. Okay, next. Okay, right. So the next program is, write a program that asks the user for their name and how many times to print it. The program should print out the user's name the specified number of times. Actually, the program is, to try to understand the problem statement first. So what is the problem statement is, the program should ask the user to enter the name first. Okay, suppose I have entered the name. Okay, so you can observe the output here. First of all, you try to observe this output. Enter the username. Okay, enter the name. Second CSC, I am giving a string second CSC, and it will ask you, the program has to ask how many number of times you want to repeat this name. Okay, I am giving 5, so it will print the name 5 times. That is what the program. Okay, so what are the basic requirements is, first of all, it has to ask the name. Okay, the program has to ask the name. After entering the name, the program has to ask how many number of times that you want to repeat that particular name. Okay, you will enter some number, 1 or 5 or 10 or something. Okay, so when you give that number, it will do something, it will calculate something and print your name. Okay, that many times, whatever the number you have given, so that many times the name will be printed. So here also the requirement is, first of all, we need to take an input method to enter the name, the second input method to enter the number of times, that means how many number of times that you want to repeat. Okay, after entering these two things, then we will do some using some for loop, we'll try to print the name for particular number of times, right? So you observe the program. Name is equal to input of enter your name. Okay, so the name will be in string, so no need to convert that into an integer or a float number, because by default Python will treat all the input variables as strings. That's why no need to enter any float or integer in front of that. So name is equal to that name will be entered. Okay, so whatever the name you have entered, that will be stored in a variable called name. Next, n is what? The number of times that you want to repeat the string. So that is a number. If you have given 10, that 10 will be in a string format. So now you need to convert that string into an integer. Okay, after converting that into an integer, and it will store in a variable called n. Now this is the loop which is very important, and which is the logic for this program. So I am writing a for loop for x in. X is a random variable which we have taken. So x in range n. Okay, what is range n? N is nothing but what? 5 times. So range means, range is a function which will accept either 0 arguments or 3 arguments. So here I am giving 1 argument. 1 means what? Here 5 will be replaced. Suppose n is equal to 5, the 5 will be replaced. So what is the 5 is nothing but here 0 to 5. Okay, so 0 to 5 means what? 0 is the first time, 1 is the second time, 2 is the third time, 3 is the fourth time, and 4 is the fifth time, right? So it will print the number, print this particular name up to that 5 times. Okay, so n is nothing but here 5. Okay, because the 5 is the input I have taken. So range of 5 means what? 0 to 5. 0 to 5 in the sense will not print 5, will print only 4, but 0 to 4. Okay, obviously 0 to 4 means what? 5 times is there, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 numbers are there. Okay, so what I need to print is, print your name is. I am writing a small string in front of this. Your name is plus name. Okay, because this contains a string, right? So this is also a string. So when you concatenate both the strings with the help of a plus operator, okay, this concept is called as a string concatenation, adding 2 strings. So plus symbol is nothing but concatenating the 2 strings. Okay, so your name is, and this name variable contains whatever the name you have entered, right? So we'll try to execute the same program here. Okay, so this is the program. When you execute this program, it will ask you to enter some name. So this time I am giving some whatever the name, and it will ask you to give the number of times that you want to repeat. I'll try to print it 10 times. Okay, so it will directly print the name 10 times, right, man? So have you understood this? Right. Next program. Okay, this is a pattern program. Use a for loop to print a triangle like the one below. Allow the user to specify how high the triangle should be. Okay, so using a for loop only we can do these kind of pattern programs. Okay, patterns, if you want to print the pattern programs, definitely we should use a for loop. There is no doubt in that. Okay, in any C program or C or C++, whatever the programs, the best thing is we need to use the for loop. Okay, so there is nothing second thought in that. But he's asking that the program should ask the user to define how high the triangle is. That means how many rows that he want to print. Here you can observe that there are 4 rows. 4 rows. First row is 1 star, second row is 2 stars, third row 3 stars, fourth row 4 stars. If you have fifth row, 5 stars, sixth row 6 stars, like that. The user has to ask that what is the height of this triangle. Okay, if it is 4, then it will print 4 rows. If it is 10, it will print 10 rows. Okay, so this is what the basic program. Okay, so first of all we'll start with writing the number of rows that you want to print. Okay, because basing on the rows only we need to define the height of that particular triangle, right? So rows is equal to input of enter the number of rows. So no need to tell you that why this int has been used, this input function has been used, right? Because already in other programs we have discussed about this point. So this is the first. Okay, so you'll enter some number, that number will be stored in rows. After that there are two loops we need to write. One is for rows and second one is for columns. Okay, because generally if you divide this particular pattern symbol into some table, okay, table, when you divide this into a table, so the first row contains one star, remaining other spaces are spaces. So the remaining other fields are spaces. Okay, similarly the second. Okay, see here. See, this is the basic representation of these particular stars. Okay, so what the thing is, we try to consider it as a table. Okay, so it has 4 rows. The first row, second row, third row, and fourth row. Okay, similarly, it has some columns: first column, second column, third column, and fourth column. Okay, so in the first column or the first row, first column, it has only one star. Second row, it has 2 stars. What about the other boxes? The other boxes will be left as empty spaces. Okay, in the first row. Similarly, in the second row, the first 2 boxes are filled and the remaining 2 boxes are empty spaces. Similarly, the third row, 3 boxes are filled and the last box will be an empty space. And the fourth row, all the boxes will be filled with stars. Right? The same logic we need to consider here. Okay, so there are 2 loops should be written. The first loop will be for the rows and the second loop for b will the second loop will be for columns. Okay, so the first loop, it is for rows, right? So for I in range of 0 to rows. Okay, so row is nothing but the number which we have taken in this particular value. If at all the 4, according to this we need to write 4. Okay, because uh, as per this particular problem statement, he has suggested that only 4 rows should be considered. So row is equal to 4. So first 4 rows, this for loop is for rows, and the next for loop is for columns. Okay, column is nothing but what, this is I, then I plus 1. That means the first value should be filled with the star and the next value should be filled with the spaces. So if you observe this, okay, if I and j, if these I and j, this is I for columns, this is j for sorry, I for rows, j for columns. 1 1 means what? If both I and j equal, then star will be printed. Other than, all the values are filled with spaces. So the second time the loop has to be written for filling the spaces. Okay, so for j in range of 0 to I plus 1. Okay, until that value you need to print the stars. Otherwise you left all the spaces, all the remaining things with the spaces. So that's why end spaces. Okay, after that what, you need to go to the next row. Okay, so the next row, you need to, if you want to go to the next row, slash r should be used. Basically we use slash n for coming to the next line, right? But here ending line after each row. Okay, so after filling each row, if you want to go for the next line, then we can use this particular slash r symbol also. Okay, so the first for loop will be for the rows and the second for loop will be for the columns. Okay, so when you execute this program, right, when you execute this program, directly it will be printed. Okay, but here I have modified the program later that I am writing this particular statement. So I'll try to again do the same thing. Here I have written row is equal to 4 directly, but this time I'll try to use this statement. Okay, here we need to modify this particular quotations, because the font will be different in Python IDE, so it will not understand what is this quotation marks is. Now it will ask you to enter the number of rows. Okay, so this time I'll give 9, so a big pattern will be printed. Okay, with 9 rows, starting with the first row contains only 1 star and the last row contains 9 stars. So similarly we can execute as big as these particular patterns. Okay, if you give 12 or 13 or 20 or 40, it will try to give the very big pattern. Okay, so I'll show you that also. If you give 20, so it will give the pattern like this, right? This is how we can execute the programs. So these are the first 5 programs we have covered in this particular session. Okay, so which are very simple programs. You need to practice these programs in any IDE. Okay, if at all you have a laptop server systems in your homes, you can simply install that particular software, whatever I have told you, Anaconda distribution software. Okay, already I have sent a mail also. Sorry, not the mail. Basically, I have sent the Google link also. Okay, so to access that link, you simply click on that link. Okay, it will download the software in your systems, then you can use that. Okay, install that software. If at all you're facing any problem with that, you just refer the YouTube videos. Otherwise you simply mail to me or ping to me. I'll give the suggestions how to install that. Okay, so but practice these programs, it is very very important. You need to practice all these programs, and the other programs whatever I am discussing in the classes also, you need to practice those programs also. Okay, so the more you practice, more you are familiar with the syntax, and more you try to get the programming. Otherwise by only simply learning the text or learning the theory part, okay, it will not help you anything. Okay, so better practice all these programs in a particular IDs, or otherwise there are so many online editors also, Python editors. There also you can simply copy paste the programs, or not copy paste, you just type the programs there and try to execute the programs. Okay, you'll try to get some errors, then try to solve that errors. Okay, so then only you will understand the basic concepts, right? Thank you. So in the another video session, we'll try to cover the other 5 programs. Okay, or totally 34 programs you have. So like these five programs we'll try to cover. Okay.